marrying Greg, you know, I just, so weird. I never thought he'd be the guy she'd marry. Are you still there? But, you know, what the?
Hey, Jess?
The last single girl of the group. When she used to date the best man, it's literally every woman's nightmare.
Who's the best man?
Sam.
The best man's a woman?
Oh my God. Like, seriously, when you blurt stuff out like that, it's seriously, like, I don't even know what to think. It's like, you've seen the L word. This isn't news. Like, when, hey, Jess. Hi.
What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani. We have right here via Zoom, not one, but two very special guests. We have the filmmaker of the brand new comedy available on demand right now, Jess Plus None, Mandy Fabian, the executive producer, Patrick Fabian, here to talk about their decorated careers, and Jess Plus None, Mandy, Patrick, join us from all around the world, London, Albuquerque. Thank you so much for the time. How's everything going?
It's
going great. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for taking the time here. Now, before we kind of dive into everything, you two, of course, are a power couple, are a mother and father, are working actors, writers, producers, filmmakers, both currently on different sides of the world. I got to ask, what's your secret to juggling everything?
We married the right people. We say that all the time. Right?
That's exactly right. Yes. Yeah, we married the right people because honestly, there's been so many situations where I go like, oh my God, I can't believe how accommodating my wife is. It's because she knows she's a fellow artist and actor. She knows, you go where the work is, and sometimes work doesn't schedule into a holiday as it is.
Yes. And our projects, whenever, they're completely all encompassing. So you got to have somebody who's like, hey, see you in 3 weeks. But it's kind of like, in a way, it's like dating, right? Because then, you don't see each other and you're like, oh, hey, new guy, what's up? But no, it really is because we knew that from the beginning. Like, part of what made it work from the beginning is you go, this is my life, and having another person understand that that's their life too, and that you already know the pitfalls, and having the other person understand that is a huge part of it, because then it's just, you don't take it personally. If someone's working a lot and they're not around, it's not because they don't love you or because, you haven't done anything wrong. They're just busy doing what they love and pursuing their dream, which is what we both want for each other.
Yeah, that's great. And so you two met each other when you were already in showbiz, right? So it's easy to kind of understand, like, okay, like, you may have to be away for a couple weeks.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, of course, we're talking about Jess Plus None, the film that you wrote and directed, Mandy, the film that you executive produced, Patrick. This is a pretty funny film with a lot of heart to it as well. There's this young woman, Jess. She's kind of down on her luck. She's coming off of a breakup, and she is the only single person invited to this wedding that happens to take place in a desolate place in the outdoors, which is easier said than done to deal with. Pretty funny, a lot of heart. How did you come up with the concept of this film? And is this based a little bit on real life?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Jess is kind of, when people are like, wow, where did you come up with this character? She's so crazy. I'm like, well, she's kind of semi-autobiographical. She was sort of a combination of all the times in my life when I'm just that person that always says the awkward thing and who says the truth when people were like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have said the truth there. So there's a little bit of that in there. And I love camping. I love the outdoors. I think it's hysterical that you're like, this desolate place. I'm like, are you kidding? It was my dream wedding. So we used to go camping a lot, and we would be on the campgrounds, and I loved the light coming through the trees. I love the way when people are sleeping on the ground, or they're not getting much sleep because of bugs or rodents, or not rodents, but creatures and critters and sounds. I love that it brings out this really primal self. Like, you really can't hide from yourself when you're in the woods. It's just you and nature, and there's no distractions. So I thought, well, what would happen if you had a wedding in this environment? Because weddings also bring out people's most primal, true selves, right? It's a heady mix having wedding and nature together. So that was kind of what inspired it. And then I always wanted to I saw The Big Chill when I was a kid. And it was one of my favorite movies because grownups were really talking about real things, and nobody in my family talked that way. So for me, I wanted to do kind of an homage to adult friendship and relationships that's kind of like The Big Chill and female friendship.
That's great. So Patrick, when Mandy showed you this script, did you ask her, where did this come from?
No, the first thing I said is, where's the old guy? Where's the 55-year-old actor? There was none. She wrote it for young people. I've been reading scripts for 30 years. And I'm not a writer. It's not my thing. I don't have the discipline. So I've gotten pretty good at reading things, though. And what was great was to read the script and immediately recognize it for what it was, which was laugh out loud funny, great dialogue. Mandy writes great dialogue. And as an actor, that's what you hang your character on. That's what you hang your hat on. And so I really, I was excited about it because, you read things and sometimes you can see them and sometimes you can't. And I tend to think that bad writing and bad storytelling is the stuff that is hard to understand. I raced through her script because I could see it, and I could see the comedy and I could see the heart, as you pointed out in the beginning. And so immediately I'm like, how can we get this built? What can we do to make this come to life?
How is the casting process and in terms of the location scouting? Because it is in a naturey area, which it's beautiful scenery, but as we see with the characters, they're woefully underprepared.
Yeah, we scouted for a while looking for a place that could accommodate this, and I thought, well, people must have weddings like this. But then, of course, when it's a wedding, it costs a lot of money, and they're only going to give you 3 days. You can't shoot a movie like this in 3 days. So it's oddly enough, a place that I had scouted that I thought could work. Then COVID happened, and it turned out that this was a kids camp that got shut down. Nobody was there, and I reached back out to the guy, and I was like, "Listen, we'll go up and clean the place, and put sweat equity in, and and would you be willing to let us rent it for the movie shoot?" And they were like more than happy that we were going to have people there and be able to use the facilities. So it's maybe one of the lucky things that came out of COVID is we got that location. And in terms of casting, I had an amazing casting director. Her name's Erica Bream, and she just had a way with finding the right people and helping me put these chemistries together. And as I met the actors and having Abby play Jess, I just think she was just a tour de force. I mean, she is incredible. I had known for a while. She would come to screenplay readings, and whenever everyone would be leaving a reading, they'd inevitably lean over and go, "The girl who plays the neighbor, who is that?" Because she's so special. But she always did drama. And this was, but I knew she was funny because my scripts were funny, and I knew how well she did comedy. So we got to cast Abby playing the lead in a comedy, and she was so excited to do it. And she's a huge fan of rom-coms and dark, weird comedy. And so once we had her, she was just a great number one on the call sheet. And because we were on a campground, also they bonded like a real family. We had a movie night. We all watched The Big Chill. We had speakers set up, so there were dance parties at night. Everybody, shared cabins and bunked up, and it was a real family camp setting. So it made, and everybody was so excited to be with real people after COVID. So it was just a lot of real off-screen love happening that I think is what we wanted for the film. So it worked out great.
Yeah, it certainly came out great. And was this the first, I know you've directed before, but was this your first full-length feature that you directed?
Yes. Yeah, first one.
Wow. Okay, so what did you and Patrick learn in the whole process of filmmaking and executive producing a full-blown feature?
Well, as a husband and wife, you bring your own relationship into it, which is a good one, which is great for when it comes to producing and directing. For me, I took on the role of executive producer, which basically meant that I was not doing any of the hard work. I was doing all the peripheral work. I was going shopping at Costco. I was making sure kids were fed. I was making sure that the one thing I knew as an actor was I don't care what situation and how long you work an actor, but if you have their coffee right, they'll do anything. So I made sure that even in the woods, it looked like it was a coffee shop out of West Hollywood. It had oat milk, it had skim milk, it had soy, it had all that sort of type of things. So I was basically in charge of that sort of thing and sort of running around sewing bits of it together. The great thing is what I wanted to provide for Mandy and also our other producers, Mandy June Turpin and Six Heels Productions. We wanted to give the space for her to go ahead and breathe her story to life without having to worry about what's for breakfast. Do we have the right actor there? Where's costumes? And that's really the producer's job, is to set the table so the artist can go to work. And I think we achieved that. And we just got lucky with the fact that post-COVID, a campsite was exactly what people wanted to be at. Our crew and our cast thrived in it. And Mandy set the table for that.
It was, once again, you go, oh, I married the right person. Because it was pretty great. Like, you do get lonely when you're on set. And, you know, it's nice to have your best friend there, working alongside you and kind of making you remember, you know, things are going well if they're around. I feel like that was a really great thing. It was almost like, it was like more even like a party that we that we were having. It felt really fun. It was amazing to be able to just bring talented people together and give them a space to just do their best work. It was really fun.
It was a really fun film, and what I loved about it is, well, many things, but two things. I hope this isn't too much of like a spoiler. Is one, the character I believe is bisexual, and it's just treated as like a normal thing, which I thought was great. I mean, it's 2025 after all. And then the other thing, which I noticed was kind of like a motif of the film, was the fact that Jess kept kind of screwing up at the same time. She made these respective characters, or quote unquote friends, kind of confront different issues that have been underlying, right? She kind of forced all these couples to communicate. So was that deliberate when you were writing the story, or did it just kind of come out of it when you were writing this romantic comedy that ended up turning into a full film?
It was deliberate. I mean, I don't think I thought of it as, oh, Jess is the catalyst. I wrote her kind of just intuitively. But what I like to do with I love ensemble comedy. I love doing more than just one character storyline. And I obviously, the thing that interests me most as a writer always is going to be someone's emotional journey, right? Every scene, I want to really think about how I want people to feel at the end of the scene. That's how I get my storytelling done. Just because that's what interests me most as an audience member when I see movies. So I always start with, where's a character at the beginning and where are they at the end? And once I have that kind of idea about like what their issue is and whether they've solved it or not, and what might feed them along the way, Jess was just the main character and the one that, you're really seeing the movie kind of through her lens. So that is inevitably, she had to have that effect on some of the other characters and like inspiring them to come clean. And I like a character that's a truth teller. One of the things that I like about her is I like that she ends up, spoiler alert, she ends up single and happy at the end. That's important to me, to have a rom-com that doesn't just end with like, and a relationship fixes everything. And I really also like the fact that she is, I think that she challenges people to think about, well, how are women supposed to behave in order to be worthy of your empathy, right? Like, how is a woman supposed to act at a wedding? Because Jess doesn't act like that. Is she still a good friend? Is she still a good person if she's not the perfect maid of honor? Like, those kind of questions I find so interesting as a woman, who's had to be a maid of honor and not a very good one sometimes.
Hey, it did work out, and it was really, of course, there's a comedy, a lot of the funny tidbits and everything. When it came to writing this film, are you a director that's like word perfect, like, all right, you got to hit this exactly the way it is, or was there some ad-libbing or kind of like tweaks throughout the filmmaking process?
So I do let people ad-lib, but I try to get one word perfect if I can, because I do take a lot of time with whether somebody says and or the, and if it's a joke, I will insist that they deliver it, because I've thought about the best way to make that joke work. So I will insist that they deliver it my way, and then they can try it their other ways as well. But there's also like, one of the characters, she added a lot of Melanie. So Mari was the actress, and she was just great. She added beats and sort of sounds and the word like a few times that normally I'd say, hey, you can't just add, it's music. You can't just add your own notes. But for that character, what she did is she made that character pop and really come to life. It was her version of it. And it really worked for the character. So I was like, great. If something works for the character and works for the story, that's what actors are supposed to bring to it. And I love it. I can't get enough of it. And then some actors were really comfortable with improv. Scott, the guy who plays the groom, Greg, he did a ton of improv. It was clear that he loved it. And so, I had my jokes for him that he did, but then he would just go off, and it was great. We got a lot of extra material because of that.
For sure. And Patrick, you had mentioned that when you originally read the script, you're like, wait a minute, there's not a role for a 55-year-old guy here and everything. So once you did get over that, how was it to kind of sit back and be in that executive producer role for a change as opposed to being on screen and having to be prepared and everything else from that side?
Yeah, well, first of all, can we just erase the fact that I said I'm 55? Let's just get rid of that.
Oh, yeah, 35. I'm sorry. It was a typo in my notes.
I meant 45. 45 is what I meant. No, you are what you are. And here's the thing. What was nice was, I've been on set for almost 30 years. And so I can feel the rhythms and I can feel when things are going well and when things are sticky. There's that moment where in every set where all of a sudden you're like, what's going on? Like time sort of stops. But what's really great is to hear the laughter wafting off from set. I'd be coming up to like bring coffee or snacks or something, and you would just catch that energy. You'd walk into this energy field of, like Mandy was just saying, people were happy. They're having a good time. And by the way, we're filming at night too. It's cold in the woods. And so, you're bringing hot coffee or tea and it's 11 o'clock at night and people are in good spirits. And they're seeing their breath and they're giggling and they're trying stuff. And I like that. In terms of me being jealous that I wasn't in it, the only thing that I was jealous was I wasn't a part of that laughter in this particular piece. Because I recognized the spirit, the esprit de corps of the ensemble. And that's something that any actor likes to be a part of. That's what you're looking for. It is looking for that zhuzh, that magic. And we lucked out with the post-COVID. We lucked out with the space. We lucked out with our actors. And again, Abby Miller as Jess is your linchpin, and she shines, and that energy and that light just bathes everybody else and gives permission to everybody else to go ahead and give us their best. So you know what? I will say this: it was nice seeing my name saying executive producer. That made me feel kind of fun for a second. But in the end, it's a collective experience. That's for sure.
Yeah, that is for sure. So is it safe to say that you might be looking at doing some stuff behind the camera moving forward, or is acting still in your foreseeable future?
Oh, here's the thing, what I know. Like I said earlier, I'm not a writer. And the reason I know that is because I don't write. I don't have the discipline or the urge for it. And I think you need to have that to do that. Same with directing. I probably could direct just by osmosis because I've been around sets for so long. Don't know how good it would be. But again, I don't have a passion for it. My passion is still in front of the camera. I still like going to work and taking somebody's words and breathing life into them. And so as long as I can still do that, I think that's where I'm going to stay.
Hey, sounds good to me. I'm sure some fans appreciate that. Now, of course, Jess Plus None is available currently right now. Video on demand, Prime Video, YouTube, the list goes on and on. Wherever you get video on demand, you can check it out. Patrick and Mandy, you've been so gracious with your time. Before we let you two go, we always like to ask all our guests some kind of random and rapid-fire questions just to get to know them better. Are you two ready?
Yeah, I'll let Mandy answer that first. Her first and then me. How about that?
All right, there you go.
Great.
Favorite late-night snack or cheat meal?
Tortilla chips.
Ice cream.
What kind of ice cream? You got to be specific here.
Oh, mint chocolate chip.
All right, okay. There you go. All-time favorite actors? You can name like an actor and actress.
Oh my God. Frances McDormand is, oh my God, it's so weird. But I have Tom Cruise on the brain, but I think he was the first actor that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
He would like that. He would like
Tom Cruise.
On the brain. Yeah,
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, there you go.
What a mix.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Paul Newman and Sally Field.
Okay. Oh, great choices. And by the way, Mandy did mention that Patrick Fabian's her honorable mention, so don't worry. All right. So those are your favorite actors. Were they the folks that also drew you guys into show business, or did you two have anybody in particular that really kind of inspired you to make this a career?
Ooh, Nora Ephron inspired me. But she's not really an actor, but Nora Ephron movies, Meg Ryan movies is what inspired me.
I saw The Man Who Would Be King, a John Huston film with Michael Caine and Sean Connery. And I think I was probably about 14. And I thought to myself, I want to do that. That's what got me going.
Now, Patrick, of course, you've had multiple job titles. Mandy, you have multiple job titles. In addition to being a filmmaker, a writer, a producer, you've been an actress, a singer, songwriter, which is pretty badass. Obviously, wife, mother. We talk about how you juggle everything professionally, but how do you decide what direction to go in professionally? So, for example, like Mandy, again, you've done acting. How do you decide, okay, this is the time I want to dedicate to just being a director? And Patrick, for you, if you do want to say do production down the road, like, how do you decide, okay, this is the time I want to focus more on producing than acting?
It follows inspiration a little bit. Like if I have an idea about a song, then I'm going to write a song. If I have an idea about a movie, it goes on the list. And if I have a free moment, like you get ideas, and then as you finish things, you're on to the next thing. So I think it depends on what's presenting in that moment. Like if you know people who want to do an independent pilot and you have that script, then that's what you're working on next. If so that's kind of, there's a lot of ideas that just come in all the time. And I have the luxury of having many different ways that those ideas can express. And I'm a bit of a terrier. So if it's a song, then I'm going to figure out how to get that song produced and done. If it's a movie, then that's what we're going to try to go for. It's obnoxious, but like it kind of is just how it presents. And then I get out of the way and try to just make it happen in the way that it has come and said, here I am, make me.
When I first met Mandy, what I always was imagined, I'm pretty much a one trick pony in a lot of ways. I'm still very much in the acting hamster wheel, which I love. Mandy would all of a sudden decide, she'd wake up in the morning and go like, oh, there's this song rattling around my head. And then she'd work on it to her point, like a terrier for 3 or 4 days till she got it done. I mean, she has 2 CDs of original music. Matter of fact, I performed with her. In New York. The day after we got married, we were on the Capitol steps in California, up in Sacramento, playing guitar. And so her talents have taken me many places. It's taken me to the woods, it's taken me to the beach, taken me to make music videos. It's always interesting. And that's what I like about the career anyways. First of all, the idea that somehow we're planning what's next is very, very optimistic and generous. It really is like, what's around the corner? What opportunity comes around? And I think I think we both operate on a notion of like, what's happening today? And we're going to say yes to things until things say no to us. And in the midst of it, we're married and have 2 kids. And they've also witnessed that you got to learn to pivot. And you got to learn to say yes. And maybe it doesn't always work out the way you thought it was, but there's always something to be drawn from it. So
it's more playful, and you're just lucky when it becomes work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. And of course, Patrick, you were on Better Call Saul for many years in the incredible role of Howard Hamlin. I would imagine it's tough to transition off of that. Right now is an iconic show that's probably going to be remembered for years to come. So we're to, of course, Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, The Wire, this goes on and on. But also that camaraderie that you had with Reese Seahorn, Bob Odenkirk, Vince Gilligan was a little cathartic and kind of welcoming to be able to work with Mandy on a project like this, coming off of another set where you guys were kind of like a family.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's your show family away from home, right? And to your point, I was so lucky to work with those people, talented artists at the top of their game. I was really, really fortunate to be a part of that. And I missed that. I think Bob summed it up best when we finished it. He had said, hey, we did everything. We ate dinner together. We made good TV together. We became friends together. All of the things that you're supposed to do when you're creating good art. And it was so nice to finally bring it home and be able to do it with the woman I love, right? So, and our children got to be in the film as well. They're in it just for a snip, but they love seeing themselves in it. They're like, go to the part where I'm in it. And it's, that's a great thing. They got to see their mother work. They got to see her figure it out and bring it to fruition. And for raising daughters, I think that's a very powerful, beautiful thing and a gift to give them.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe it's been 3 years. I don't want to give away too many spoilers for anybody that hasn't binged the show yet, but 3 years since your last major speaking part on Better Call Saul. Such an iconic episode and everything. You were on that show for many years. You did a fantastic job in your own right. But is there anything you learned from Vince Gilligan and the writing team that you took to Jess Plus None and future projects?
Well, I'll tell you what, attention to detail, I would say that. And also to Mandy's point, writers take a lot of time to go ahead and craft scripts and craft words for you. And the idea that the actor can just go ahead and show up and add a couple of likes or ums into something is a real disservice to the work that was done before. And, Mandy's jokes pop best when they're said the way they were written. And we figured that out as well. And her attention to detail also echoed what Vince did. Every department in Saul was a detail-oriented thing. People took pride in their positions and pride in their departments. And I think when you're dealing with a collective in order to make something work, that's exactly what you need. The good news is on Jess Plus None, we had exactly that.
Definitely. And a fantastic filmmaker, of course, in Mandy. During the making of Jess Plus None, what was your most awkward moment in the filming? Something that was wacky and crazy that happened that maybe makes for a good story later.
Oh, wow. Awkward moment in the filming. Well, I mean, the craziest moment I can think of is when I realized that I had to shoot 8 pages in 5 hours. The way that we had scheduled it was, and I had all these ideas for, I mean, that's the funny part about it. You have you're so creative and you're like, this is what we're going to put together. And you think that you have communicated everything that's in your brain just so elegantly. And then the reality comes in where you're like, oh my God, okay, I have to cut half of those shots and just stand there and say that. That's great. And you kind of on the fly, like, thank God I was compelled to do music videos because I edited all those things and I edited the digital series that I did. So I had at least some sort of editor's brain so that my editor would not kill me when I sent him the footage to work on. But that was really the running back and forth. I just, like, I'm a crazy person on set. Like I have to run up and talk to the actors and then run back to Video Village and run. And I was in the best shape of my life after that movie. I don't know if it's awkward, except that it was pretty crazy. It was like, is this how this normally works? Yeah, I think that's it. And maybe I also, when I had to direct, 2 characters make out in the movie, and I was weirdly suddenly a fumbling schoolgirl who was like, that's fine, just touch her butt, I don't know. Like it was, and we were so calm and we talked about everything beforehand so everybody would be comfortable. And then when it was actually happening, there's a lot of sexual stuff in the movie and I would get so crazy uncomfortable, like, who wrote this? This is so embarrassing. So that's probably the most awkward. That's of course the most awkward.
Yeah.
And Patrick, for you as the executive producer, you mentioned having to make sure all the actors were accommodated. Was there a moment during the filming where you were like, oh crap, I got to make a quick Costco run or something?
No, I tell you what, though, at day 2, after we'd slept, I guess one night, our producer, Mandy June Turpin, all of a sudden showed up on set and she had like 50 whistles, like referee whistles. I'm like, what's that for? She goes, bears. Because, of course, you're going to outhouses in the middle of the night if you have to go to the bathroom. So as soon as it gets dark, and by the way, it gets dark at night in the woods, all of a sudden we have people going, tweet, tweet, walking around because there was bears everywhere. So I found that to be one of those things where like, oh, I don't know why shooting in the woods, I didn't consider that there might be animals here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, what all worked out after all.
Yeah, it absolutely did. No, there was no bears harmed or actors harmed during the filming of Jess Plus None.
There you go. Thank goodness. Now, of course, we were talking about Jess Plus None. We talked a little bit about Better Call Saul, but you two have had decorated careers spanning decades in show business. So for each of you, is there one project you've done that you feel like is underrated that maybe didn't get enough love at the time that you'd love our viewers and listeners to check out?
You want me to go?
Yeah, go.
You have more projects probably that viewers can check out. Oddly enough, one of the things I am most proud of is a dramatic short that I did. It's crazy. Nobody expected me to do a drama, but it's called Last Weekend and it's on my website.
Oh, yeah. What's your website again, honey?
MandyFabian.com.
Right. Thank you.
It's like one of my favorite films that I've ever done. And it's nobody would have ever expected me to do a drama. So that was my favorite, I think.
Well, I like that for her also because, we shot that, again, that was a collaboration. I got to be a hands-on with that as well. And Mandy June Turpin, she was also a producer on that. And we shot that locally in Los Angeles. And it was not my wife's quick-witted, funny, jokey stuff at all. Very heartfelt and beautiful and really fully realized. And Rob Nagel and Jennifer Carter were the wonderful actors in it. And our children were in that as well. And so we had gone through festivals and shorts, and that's a whole different podcast about whether that helps your dreams or hurts your dreams. And so it had gone through all that sourcing. And then Mandy was like, I'm just going to throw it up on Facebook. I want people to see it, And the amount of people that watched it and then got back to her. And I guess this is for any filmmaker out there. Find your audience. And it's hard to find your audience sometimes, but people want to see things. And when your work resonates with people, they'll let you know. Mandy took Jess Plus None over the festival circuit in the States, and she was able to sit in the audience and watch the film made as she intended, in the dark, with other humans, on the big screen. And the reactions that you get from that are communal and beautiful and different. it hits people differently. But last weekend on mandyandfabian.com is a great way to spend 15 minutes, open your heart. For me, I have done really good things in my career, and a quick perusal of my IMDb, I've done some maybe not so good things. Not necessarily overlooked, but I absolutely, you said, like, what's the one thing? And my brain always goes, I loved being on Xena the Warrior Princess. It's a ridiculously wonderful show. And I got to go to New Zealand. I got to wear leather gauntlets. I got to beat up the bad guys, and I got to kiss Xena the Warrior Princess, and they paid me. I'm not sure, really, as an actor, you're asking for much more on World. So that's, if you haven't seen Xena recently, kids, go find it.
Yeah, that was definitely an epic series back in the day. I grew up watching. That's so cool. I had no idea you were on that. Okay, that took me off guard. I thought you were going to say something like Driver X or some of the other stuff that you've done that got some.
Oh yeah, that's
nice
a lot of those things. And just for business sake, it's mandyfabian.com, it's patrickfabian.com, and it's JessPlusNone.com. Jess Plus None on both Instagram, Facebook, and all that. I'm sure Fred's going to put it on the things, but go check it out. Buy the merch. See the movie. All of those things.
There you go. Great sales pitch. All right, and we'll get you on a high note then. What's the best piece of advice you two can give for success?
Never stop learning. Always really trust your gut. You can work on your skills while you learn what you like. And if you keep practicing, you'll get better at something. But don't stop practicing because you're not good enough yet. It's the act of practicing something that is your deepest desire is totally fulfilling as a human being. And art is something that more than ever needs to be nurtured, encouraged, and protected. It's good for you as a human being, and therefore it's good for society. It's good for people who get to see and receive it. So I would say perseverance and practice, and being okay with that being a measure of your success is really important. That's what I would say.
That's why I married her. She has thoughts like that. I'm much more succinct, I think. I'm going to say, don't be too precious about yourself. Say yes to things. Life is short.
Wise words from two wise folks. And we'll get you on one more high note. For anybody that hasn't already been convinced, why should people check out Jess Plus None?
Don't take my word for it. Take Time Out London's word for it. It's laugh out loud funny. Don't you want to laugh? Rent Jess Plus None.
I think it's fresh. I think you'll feel like you went to a really interesting, fun wedding. And I think you'll feel happy that you did. I really do. I think it'll make you smile and feel good. And we need those things. Absolutely.
Well, Mandy, Patrick, thank you so much for your time. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you guys, learning about your journeys. And of course, Jess Plus None streaming right now, video on demand, purchase and rent. Before we let you two go, where can we find y'all online, and where can we find you next?
mandyfabian.com. And next, well, it will get released if you follow me on Instagram at MandyFab, or on Facebook, I'm Mandy Fabian.
And it's at Jess Plus None for the movie. You can follow me at Patrick Fabian, Mr. Patrick Fabian on Instagram. And I currently have an independent film called The Way We Speak out. And then I'm going to have another film called Under the Influence out sometime next year. Oh, wait a second. Forget all that. June 6th, The Ritual, starring Al Pacino, an Exorcist movie. Blink and you'll miss me, but I'm in it.
Oh, that is awesome. So that's coming out soon and everything. Okay. And can you give us a little elevator pitch on that before we go?
Well, the devil's involved, and so is the clergy. I'll give you a secret. I play the bishop. Shh.
Okay. Ooh, all right. Amazing. Great to hear. Abundance all around. That's beautiful. And actually, just one more question. Bonus question. Is there anything you two wish I asked y'all in this interview?
No, it was a really good interview.
No, you're a really good interview.
Up.
Probably the best interview I've ever had. Yeah, without a doubt.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Jess Plus None. Check it out. Follow them online. We'll include that all in the show notes. Thank you two so much for your time. Hope you have a great rest of the year and a great film circuit.
Thank you so much. Thank you.